How do you know when it's time to leave your job? I'll give you my take, because I'm at that point. No motivation to do anything for anyone anymore. Absolutely no sense of urgency on things that are urgent. Thinking about literally everything else other than your work. Also when it affects your sleep schedule and you take your work anxiety/stress home. I stay up at night thinking of the next day, almost every single night. I'm probably going to stay here for another 2 months while I save money and then drop the 2 weeks on a date that I've decided on. When it begins to affect your mental health, not just standard work stress, but losing sleep, becoming angry or depressed at the thought of going to work, complete apathy towards your performance, etc. This happened to me at my previous job. I couldn't sleep anymore. I would go to bed and wake up with my stomach burning from nervousness, and it got to a point where I couldn't even work anymore because of how much anxiety the job gave me. I would just sit there and stare at the screen, counting down the minutes. My breaking point was sitting on my couch with my wife on a Sunday, and I just started crying, just at the simple thought of having to go in for another week to that place. This basically describes me with my current job. I'm a software developer, and I'm disgustingly underpaid. I did some research and brought this to the attention of my boss last summer, and I was working with him, and he in turn was working on a justification document to send to the appropriate parties when review time comes around. He was gunning for me very hard because I'm a damn good employee and I get my work done and continually prove myself, so the least the company can do is pay me what I'm fucking worth, his words. But then he left a few months ago for a better opportunity, and while I don't blame him, he was gunning for me hard with this potential upcoming pay raise. Him leaving sort of left it hanging. Despite the fact that he informed the appropriate parties with a full document detailing and justifying me being paid what I'm worth, based on current market prices, and despite the fact that I've had multiple discussions about it with those appropriate parties since he left, I'm simply unsure if the company will come through. It sent me into a spiral I've been trying to pull out of for 2 months. My former boss reached out to me with a position he has available on his new team that will come with much higher pay, almost 3x what I make now, great benefits, and way better hours. I applied and am being considered. I'm really hopeful. I'm tired of dreading going to work, and I'm especially tired of having no motivation, because I'm drastically underpaid in a field I absolutely should not be underpaid in. I'm currently there for the most part. It's mainly my new boss, not a manager, a boss. And their boss too. Nasty combination. In summary, they play favorites. There's no solutions, just finger pointing and then excluding you, but pretending everything is fine, like they're too scared to tell you. Communication is horrible, makes it impossible to do my job without looking like an idiot when new info arises I didn't know about but someone else on my team did. They try to tell you how to do your job without even knowing what your job entails or anything about what you do. They don't support you, throw you under the bus, then criticize you when you're just trying to make the best of a shitty situation. I've even addressed it. They say everything is fine and I'm misinterpreting. They ask me what I didn't do. I explain the lack of communication and they tell me I'm just making excuses. I just stopped talking after that and decided yeah, it's time to go. There's likely to be a mass exodus, since no one is happy since management changed. I didn't realize how bad it was until I started snapping at home and having nightmares about going back to work after holiday vacation ended. I was in the hospital recently with a fever of 104.5 and an antibiotic-resistant infection in my leg. I was happier to be in the hospital than at my desk. I feel like that's a pretty good indicator that it's time to look elsewhere. I quit my last job of like 12 years after I slipped a disc in my back and couldn't walk for a month. When I got better I freaked out and had a huge breakdown about going back to my old job. I never wanted to step foot in there again. I just couldn't do it anymore. I sent my boss an email saying I was never coming back, and he was surprisingly understanding. I ended up getting a rad job where the hours are flexible, I'm in control, and I get paid more for less time on the clock. In the end, fucking up my back made a huge impact on my quality of life, and I would eat the hard-boiled egg that set the whole thing into motion again 1,000 times. When, during your annual review, you ask for more development and responsibilities and your boss says, "I like what you're doing now, keep at it." While on its face this is complimentary, this is a sign that you're not going to be promoted and there isn't growth for you. Had this said to me in August, and I was at a new position with a different company by December. We usually get our reviews done at the same time as raises are announced. Last year I got glowing marks, and before my immediate higher up left she insisted she wanted me to get a 16% raise, which would be crucial in whether or not I can finally go back to school. She left, and the raise/review came, and my boss said nothing for improvement or critique, just that I was getting a 3% raise. I was stunned. I had my full speech ready, an argument for my case, but that was just a slap in the face. I got it up around a 6% raise after negotiating, but I'm still insulted. I asked what do I do to get at least a 12% raise. She only said you can take on another task/more responsibility, but I know I'm being underpaid in this position. Part of me wants to work hard and get numbers/evidence to say now I deserve that raise. The other part of me wonders why my endless overtime during peak seasons, being denied vacation for 6 months because I keep working the hours no one else wants, getting punted around, so my sleep schedule is non-existent. Why any of that isn't enough. Everyone in my career field is always pushing me to get a specific license so I can work in audit, CPA license, and they're absolutely appalled when I tell them I don't want to stay in public accounting forever. My boss never sees his kids. My classmates who are at the top firms in the US are barely home and sleeping in their office bathrooms. It's just such a ridiculously insane time/job commitment that isn't worth the pay at all, and you have to put up with corporate culture the entire way. Hell, I'm at an understaffed CPA firm right now. It being understaffed means that I'm busy all year because we're constantly behind on things, and I'm being paid $17/HR in Southern California, so I can't even move into my own place without living paycheck to paycheck. When your home life suffers. I took a 10-day moto trip with my brother from Arizona to Seattle and back. Just cruise the back highways camping and visiting friends along the way. As we got closer to Phoenix I got more stressed about going back to work. I knew I hated the people I worked for, and I just realized that it was never going to change, that they were never going to change. It was affecting my marriage and the person I was outside of work. I walked into work Monday morning and went low enough to text the owner my 2 weeks, and when she called me to try and fix it, I sent her another text that clearly stated if she bothered me about staying, that would be my last minute with her company. She didn't bother me again. Only time I have ever quit a job without something else lined up. Best decision I ever made. You start getting passed over for positions you entirely deserved because someone with less know-how or experience got the position based on a relationship, family, friend, lover with the hiring manager. You notice that experienced people are leaving en masse. You hate your job and your career allows you to change to another company. You aren't making what you think you're worth and can get what you're worth elsewhere. I left 2 companies that went under soon after I left because I saw these things start to happen. One went under in 4 months, the other in 2 years. When your mental health and home life is being affected. I'm at that point now. I'm always tired, always stressed, and I can tell this is affecting my family. I've even began isolating myself from lifelong friends because I'm utterly miserable and stressed because of work. Added to that I have a much shorter fuse than I did before this job. The constant stress has worked under my patience and I'm now much quicker to snap at something or someone. When work starts getting into your life like this, get out before it does any permanent mental damage or pushes people away. I was in this situation about a month ago. I don't cry normally, but the stress and abuse I took was causing me to fall into hysterical tears multiple times daily. Worked from home so no one ever saw the toll. What I was doing should have been divided between 2 people at a minimum, and anywhere else they'd have been paid 2x each what I was making. The final straw was after asking for a review and raise since August and finally demanding to be heard. I was told that they were restructuring our department. I'd go back into more, if an admin position, after being in a management position at admin pay for 1.5 years and have the opportunity to earn an increase. So the 60-hour weeks On call every night and weekend, almost perfect record of job completion, and building phenomenal relationships with our vendors, isn't worth shit to you, then you're not worth the trouble. Now I'm searching for a job cause I sure as hell wasn't putting up with their shit any longer and making my family suffer for it.